Welcome to I Tune to Him on this Monday. We trust and pray that you had a wonderful weekend. Our theme this week is grace moments. All this week we're going to be looking at the wonderful and amazing grace of our God. And I thought for today that our topic would be found in 2 Samuel, the 9th chapter. And I've entitled this The Table of Grace because it's the story of a man by the name of Mephibosheth, who was brought to the king's palace and was allowed to eat at the king's table continuously. But to understand a little bit about this story, you've really got to understand the background. You see, he was the son of Jonathan, the grandson of King Saul. And anytime there was a change in the throne, what would happen is they would kill all the descendants of that previous king so that there would be no threat to the new king. And so because David loved Jonathan so much, the Scripture tells us that one day he asked, is there anyone of the house of Jonathan that I can show kindness to? And he had a son. Mephibosheth was his name. Mephibosheth was crippled in both of his feet because when the story came of the death of Jonathan and Saul, the nurse that was keeping him in her haste to get away, the young boy fell and became crippled in both of his feet. So he sends news to bring Mephibosheth to the palace. I'm sure he thought this was the end. They have found me and I will be put to death. But listen to the story today. Now when Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, had come to David, he fell on his face and prostrated himself. Then David said, Mephibosheth? And he answered, Here is your servant. So David said to him, Do not fear, for I will surely show you kindness for Jonathan your father's sake, and restore to you all the land of Saul your grandfather, and you shall eat bread at my table continuously. So basically all we're told about Mephibosheth is his name, he who scatters shame, and his deformity, that he was crippled as the result of a fall. That kind of sounds like us, doesn't it? We were born in royalty. We were created to rule and to reign. But now then we suffer. And we're crippled spiritually because of the result of a fall. But that did not keep David from having a crippled come to the castle. And he extended mercy to him. But more than mercy, a multitude of mercies. What's that? Grace. The unmerited, undeserved, unearned favor of God. I want to draw your attention to a couple of points very quickly. When he came to the king's palace, his position overshadowed his problem. Isn't it wonderful to know that even though he was a cripple, when he pulled himself up to the king's table, that table covered his crippledness. It covered his deformity. It covered his sin and his shame. I want to tell you today, there are no dysfunctions at the king's table. You can pull up to his table today and find grace. But secondly, his present overshadowed his past. You may be watching this today and you just can't seem to get beyond your past. You say, Pastor, I still have crippled feet. Pull up to his table today because you know what? That's how much he cares for you. He wants you to understand he doesn't see your past because he's made provision for your present and for your future. Imagine with me it's dinner time at the palace and the dinner bell rings and everyone is taking their position at this table. There's Absalom, the handsome. What a physique he had. And then you had Tamar, the beautiful, the lovely. And then Solomon, who the Bible tells us was the wisest man in the Bible. They all had a right to be at the king's table because, you see, they were the king's kids. But then, down the hall, you hear a thump, thump, thump. It was the sound of crutches as the crippled, old Mephibosheth, makes his way and sits at the table. You think about that today. You have the athlete, you have the model girl, and you have the valedictorian. But can I tell you, there's still room for cripples at the table. I want to tell you today, God has a place set for you. Will you come? Will you feast on the riches of His grace? You can pull up to the table today because it's a table of grace. Until tomorrow, God bless you. Have a wonderful day.